everyone, and welcome to Combined Faith Christian Sports Evangelism's channel. My name is Charlene Griffith, and I'm one of the trustees of Combined Faith, and I'll be your host for today's session. Over the years, what we have noticed, even as our coaches and our athletes retire from the sport, or they're not as involved, that their physical health fitness really deteriorates rather quickly. I mean, life just happens. Persons are busy taking care of their family, they're trying to move up in their careers, they're involved in ministry, and they just do not have the time to take care of their bodies. I think the good thing though is that there are actually persons out there who are crushing it. Even though they are busy with different activities, they're still making the time to prioritize their physical health. And so we have the pleasure to have our president, Dean Squires, to be here to talk about his journey to 50. He's wearing a number of hats. He is the husband of Squires. He's the father of Daya and Elisha. He's the president of Combined Faith, but he still has been prioritizing his physical health, and we must say he looks, relatively good for his age. And so we want to talk to him about his secrets. What is it that he's doing that we can learn from, so that we can also be healthy and strong and fit even as we reach to that age of 50.
My number one motivation is that I have come to the place where I believe that this is the temple of the living God, and He will hold me responsible for how I take care of it. Now, there are many other people who believe that, but then you don't see it in their lifestyle. So I would then add my number two. My number two motivation or reason why I might look like I'm taking care of my body is because I see it as a calling to represent, even in what I do, which is sports ministry, and mainly coaching. And I don't want to be a coach who's just talking it, but when you look, you can't tell. So if I tell my athletes to work out and get stronger, I myself work out and get stronger. If I tell them they need to work on their fitness, I myself work on my fitness. And I believe that ties right in to even what I believe in terms of my God. I'm supposed to be an ambassador, a representative of all that God stands for to others.
Yeah, so you're essentially leading by example.
Yes.
Yes.
As best as I can.
Yes. That's awesome, because I feel like we as Christians don't really see our bodies as, important. So we talk a lot about the spiritual aspect, we talk a lot about emotions sometimes, but we hardly ever focus a bit on how we take care of our bodies. And the funny thing about it is that when you don't take care of your body, it affects everything.
Everything.
And I don't think that people really get that, because if you're not having enough sleep, if you are, overweight and stuff, your quality of life is severely impacted. So what is it about us as Christians that we just feel that just taking care of our spiritual aspect is all that's all God cares about?
I don't think that anyone would outright, say that it's only about the spiritual. All the points we just made, I believe almost everyone, if not everyone, would agree with those points.
Right.
But one thing about physical exercise is not something you can just talk about. The spiritual things, you can read, sit down and lay down and read, you can sit down and lay down and pray, you can do these things. But you see, physical exercise, at some point in time, after talking about it, reading about it, you got to get up and go do. You got to get up and go do.
Yeah, I think that's kind of connected with the internal struggles that persons might be going through. So I know that probably might be a big factor that is probably preventing persons from really, prioritizing that aspect of our lives. So how do you get or overcome that aspect? Like sometimes every day, do you feel like exercising? How do you push through those, obstacles?
Yeah, those obstacles are real. People might commend me, but it's a struggle for me as well. And I do two things intentionally. I keep my eyes or my mind on where I want to get to or what I want to be, and I put my emphasis and focus on that, like heavy focus. And to a lesser degree, I take a glimpse of what I don't want. What I don't want to look like, what I don't want to move like, what I don't want to be like.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you have quite a few examples of that, and I'm not like body shaming or anything, but I got a picture in my mind of what I don't want to look like. But I find if you just look or dwell on that, somehow it still don't push you enough. So I look forward and look for examples of what I want to look like, and basically what I want to be like in terms of physical presence and ability for my physical movement and activity.
Yeah, I think that vision is important. Sometimes we don't have that clear vision in our mind where we want to go, and it then becomes a struggle to move in that direction. So even as we kind of close off though, what are some of the takeaways that you want our listeners to remember? Like if you have to give some advice to our coaches or our athletes, and not only them, but probably ordinary persons that weren't necessarily involved in sports, how can they maintain good health and wellness even as they're trying to balance their other aspects of life?
You gotta deal with yourself first, and I call that the internal aspect. And for me, I ask God for help. I actually ask God for help. Sometimes just generally speaking, and then sometimes specifically, I'm in a situation where I don't feel like exercising, I don't feel like working out, I don't feel like, and I can find excuses, many excuses. But I ask God for help, I cry out for help. Beyond that now, I also try to tag or get in the company of persons who are on a similar journey. And for me personally, I even like to be around persons who are a step ahead of me, and where I'm trying to get to. And in those times when I'm tempted to slack off or ease up and I see these persons still going, then I go as well, or I'm more motivated to go. So it's like a community, if you can be part of a community. And I said it before, but you got to keep reminding yourself, because sometimes you might not be able to get to your community. You got to keep reminding yourself that picture in your mind of what I'm trying to achieve, where I'm trying to get to, and to a lesser extent, where I want to leave, or where I don't want to be, or where I don't want to remain. And those are basically my 3 nuggets.
Yes, I think those are some good points, Dean. So I really, thankful for your time, even in sharing your journey to 50. You're going to be 50, right?
This year, 2024, October 23rd. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So we want to commend Dean for all that he's doing in terms of maintaining his health and wellness. We want to encourage him to continue, and I hope you were motivated by his story. And I mean, if Dean can do it, you can too as well. Yeah, we just have to stay focused, and like he was talking about, have the persons around you to help motivate you and keep you focused in that direction. So Dean, is there any like simple exercises for those persons that are not accustomed to working out that they can do to start that process? Just show us like 1 or 2 exercises that they can do while they're sitting.
Well, I recommend walking.
Walking, okay.
Many people can't walk, and walking is a tremendous starter, because you might feel like walking is like has nothing but taking a good walk, a good couple of laps starts your body with movement. And if you can get a rhythm of walking at least every other day, ideally every day, but maybe every other day, as your body begins to get more and more active, then you feel that inclination or readiness to go to a next step. And it doesn't have necessarily to be running, but things like jumping jacks, star jumps, for those who don't have the space, are great, because they're going to be using both arms, upper body, lower body, and they give you a good workout. Things like your squats, with it, sitting and standing intentionally. And if you have steps, whether it's at your workplace or at your school or anywhere, you can use steps as a good way of exercising. So,
yeah, thanks for that tip, Dean. And we are looking forward to do other sessions like these to help you in your fitness journey, because we don't only want to focus on our athletes and coaches. We want to build a community of persons that are actually living a life that is representative of who God will have us to be. Good, healthy, strong Christians, not only spiritually but also emotionally and physically as well. So thanks for your time and have a good day.
hallelujah.